We went and did Ancestry.com after his sister, Lakeisha, was contacting him, and he did submit his test. But on Ancestry, they can block other people.
The DNA thing was Ancestry type. I think like somebody popped up on it like.
There's a fresh ripple in a story the internet refuses to let go of. A woman from Maryland says she's Jay-Z's firstborn daughter, pointing to relatives that allegedly showed up on a consumer DNA platform as her early signal. At the same time, the long-running paternity saga around Remir, Jay-Z's alleged son, has swerved again, dragging old questions back into the spotlight and inviting a brand new wave of speculation. None of this is settled, and that's exactly why it's gripping. Posts keep circulating, whispers keep mutating, and the paper trail stays thin. Viewers aren't just watching, they're connecting dots, screenshot by screenshot, comment by comment. The debate lands in that messy middle where internet receipts feel convincing, but real answers only come from labs and courts. So here's the promise: we're separating what's being said from what's actually verified, so you can decide where the truth might land. But that wasn't the whole story.
That Letitia is Jay-Z's first alleged daughter? I do, okay?
The woman widely discussed online is Letitia T. Masser of Cambridge, Maryland. In 2020, she began sharing her side, throwback photos, captions that read like a reveal, meet the parents, and longer reflections about growing up believing this was an open secret in her city. She wrote about caring for a mother with serious health issues, raising her own kids, and staying quiet for years to avoid chaos. Hometown voices popped up under her posts, echoing that they'd always heard something. Critics called it clout chasing. She pushed back, saying a consumer DNA test surfaced relatives tied to the Carter side, which gave her the confidence to speak. To be crystal clear, those are her statements. They're personal, they're specific, and they're public. But they're not the same thing as a supervised, court-recognized parent-child test. Still, once the posts landed, the story found oxygen. Blogs screen-grabbed, reaction channels amplified, and the conversation shifted from "is this real" to "why is this surfacing now?" That opened the door to the part of the timeline the internet loves most, the rumor loop that claims to explain the sudden quiet. Fast forward to this year, and the rumor mill spun up again. New social chatter and radio show bits claimed there was a pricey home in Maryland connected to the woman, and that a confidentiality agreement explains the silence after those bold posts. It's a bingeable storyline, mysterious property, hushed terms, and a tidy reason why the noise dropped off. But here's the caution flag that matters. None of this has been confirmed by representatives, documented through public records cited by credible outlets, or acknowledged on the record by either side. No verified deed breakdown tied to a named buyer, no official statement, no court filing that spells it out. Until something verifiable lands, it sits where most viral claims live: interesting, clickable, and unproven. Even so, the rumor persists because it answers a nagging viewer question. If she was so sure in 2020, why go quiet? The alleged NDA and House rumor offers a neat explanation. What it doesn't offer is evidence. And while that loop kept spinning, the parallel case that's followed this story for years hit a new beat.
Do you believe wholeheartedly that Jay's your father?
I really do. And if it's not, why you can't prove me wrong? Like, go to the courtroom, do what everybody else would have to do.
Remir Satterthwaite's name has hovered over this topic for years. He has pursued a definitive answer through filings and public appeals, repeating that he wants the truth even if it isn't the outcome he hopes for. Recently, he withdrew his latest federal case, an on-record move that resets the chessboard yet again. Jay-Z's side has consistently denied the claims and pointed to past procedural outcomes, while commentators argue over what the withdrawal actually means: a strategic pause, legal fatigue, or just a cycle we've seen before. To viewers, it can feel like a loop: headlines, filings, dismissals, then silence, only to restart months later with a fresh angle or a new document. The fact remains, without a court-ordered test entered into the record or a voluntary chain of custody test both sides agree to disclose, the question never fully closes. That uncertainty is exactly what keeps the audience leaning forward, scanning for the next clue, which is why so much attention keeps bouncing back to those consumer DNA receipts. Consumer DNA platforms can be fascinating. They surface cousin matches, segment overlaps, and family clusters that send people down rabbit holes for months. For genealogy, they're powerful. For internet debates, they're gasoline. But they're not the same as a chain of custody parent-child test. On consumer sites, profiles can be private, matches can be hidden or limited, and family trees can be incomplete or wrong. People can opt out of visibility entirely. A match list can hint, it cannot adjudicate. Even when a close match appears, the platform is estimating relatedness based on shared segments, not proving a specific parent-child link to a specific person, collected under supervised conditions with documented handling. Courts care about chain of custody because it locks the identity of the sample to the identity of the person. Screenshots don't do that. And the flip side matters too. If a person seems to disappear from your match list, that might be privacy settings, a name change, or an account shift, not proof that someone blocked you to hide a secret. In short, consumer DNA can start a conversation, but it can't finish one. And when the conversation involves a megastar, the volume turns up fast. Any story that touches Beyonce and Jay-Z gets amplified instantly. Stan pages, commentary channels, and rumor accounts start mapping a private drama, a spouse under pressure, a home balancing headlines with kids' privacy, and a megastar couple trying to protect what's personal while the internet demands a front row seat. It's addictive because it feels like access, as if viewers are piecing together a puzzle the officials won't solve. But unless a representative speaks on the record or a document lands in a public file, what you're hearing is fan interpretation layered over partial facts. Some fans argue that if a claim were true, it wouldn't need social media. Others say social media is the only way to be heard when official doors stay closed. That tension, privacy versus proof, image versus intimacy, keeps viewers locked in, waiting for a slip, a statement, or a document that shifts the balance. And right when interest peaks, the most cinematic rumor of all re-enters the chat: the alleged NDA and house that supposedly explain everything. The tightest loop in this saga is the alleged hush arrangement, an NDA and a high-priced Maryland home, supposedly tied to keeping the story quiet. It explains the silence, it makes narrative sense, and it fits the celebrity mystique template. But it's still a rumor. There's no official confirmation, no widely cited records from credible outlets, and no on-the-record acknowledgement from either side. Could such a deal exist privately? In theory, yes. Has it been demonstrated publicly? No. That's why responsible framing matters. Phrases like reports claim, rumors suggest, and people online are saying signal uncertainty and keep speculation in its lane. Without documentation, no deed breakdown linked to a named buyer, no legal filing referencing an NDA, no statement from representatives, this remains unverified. And that's important because the difference between people are saying and here's the PDF is the difference between conversation and confirmation. Which brings us to the only two doors that would actually close this chapter for good. There are only two definitive routes. Door 1, a voluntary, lab-administered parent-child test with clear chain of custody and a mutual agreement to share the results. Door 2, a valid court case where a judge orders testing and the results enter the record. Everything else, archived photos, hometown comments, cousin match screenshots, even heartfelt testimony, can raise eyebrows but won't end the debate. Major stars attract myths, and myths feed an attention economy. In that economy, a 3-year quiet stretch gets reinterpreted as proof of a settlement. A vague caption becomes a receipt, and speculation starts to feel like certainty. The reality is simpler: either evidence arrives, or the rumor cycles again. As of now, the scoreboard shows a public claim from a Maryland woman dating back to 2020, an unconfirmed house NDA rumor that refuses to die, and on a separate track, Rumir's most recent federal case withdrawn. That's the map today. If a real test happens, this ends in one paragraph. If it doesn't, expect more screenshots, more theories, and more late-night threads. Until evidence replaces echoes, the truth, whichever way it points, remains just out of frame.